The case currently ongoing, Nnamdi Kanu's case in court.
Going to start with that rather unexpected twist in the highly publicized terrorism and treasonable felony trial of Nnamdi Kanu. Because
why
today...
is Nnamdi Kanu's name always in the news? Why is he always trending despite being in DSS custody? I'll tell you why. Nnamdi Kanu's story is one of the most controversial political and human rights cases in Nigeria's recent history. He first came to public attention as the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB. A group calling for the independence of the southeast region of Nigeria. His voice grew louder through radio broadcasts and speeches that questioned Nigerians' unity and government structure.
We are sending a note of warning, or should I say caution, to all those that delight in shedding the blood of Biafrans and innocent people right across the length and breadth of this zoological republic called Nigeria. That from this day onwards, any attempt to kill innocent people will be kindly reciprocated.
But in 2015, he was arrested on charges of treason, spreading hate, and leading an unlawful group. So after months in detention, he was released on bail in 2017, under strict conditions, but fled country after soldiers stormed his hometown in Abia State during a military operation. We're going to talk about that one later. From abroad, Kanu continued his campaign for Biafra's independence and was said to have formed the Eastern Security Network, ESN, which the government accused of causing violence and unrest in the southeast.
Because today we present to the world our first and our last line of defense against Fulani Janjaweed-inspired murderous anarchy and mayhem across the entire Middle Belt and the South. The Eastern Security Network is here to bring to an end years of Fulani Miyetti Allah terrorism in our land. Therefore, we are going to secure the entire Southeast and South-South, which is the former East, with the necessary assurance that crimes such as kidnapping, armed robbery, illegal abduction of innocent people is brought to an end very imminently.
The Enugu State Police Command carried out a tactical and intelligence-driven dusk-to-dawn raid at the IPOB ESN camp. The operation led to the discovery of a corpse of a male victim identified as Okpanenji Johnson, a police officer serving in Igweze North Police Division of the command, who'd gone missing. Also recovered at the camp are 12 firearms, including one ARK-2 assault rifle, pump-action guns, locally made Beretta-like pistols, and locally fabricated double-barreled guns.
Then, in 2021, he was arrested again in Kenya under unclear circumstances and secretly flown back to Nigeria. Then, the government called it unlawful repatriation, but international observers, human rights group, and his lawyers described it as an illegal extradition because it did not follow any recognized legal process between the two countries. No Kenyan court approved his transfer, and Kenya has never confirmed his involvement, which raises serious concern about the legality of the operation in the first place. However, the Nigerian courts are saying that, inasmuch as this might seem as an illegal operation, Nnamdi Kanu was still a wanted man as at the time he was arrested in Kenya, so he's still going to stand trial. So, after his return, the Nigerian government filed multiple charges against him, including treasonable felony, inciting violence, running an unlawful organization, and spreading messages that could divide the country. His supporters, on the other hand, insist he was simply expressing the frustrations of the Igbo people and advocating for self-determination. He wasn't committing any crime. So Kanu has remained in detention while his trial continues to drag on without conclusion. The delays have been blamed on political interference, weak prosecution, and endless court adjournments. But each time the case comes up, it is either postponed or pushed to a higher court over technical issues. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense. His lawyers have also accused the Department of State Services of denying him full access to his legal team and medical care. Of course, that's a violation. If he has no access to his legal team, how is he supposed to be properly represented in court? So this ongoing delay reflects the deep flaws in Nigeria's justice system, where political class often turn into tools to control rather than genuine legal processes. The government's refusal to bring the case to an end has raised doubts about whether the goal is justice or suppression. For many Nigerians, the issue has become a symbol of how the court can be influenced by politics and how justice is easily delayed when power is involved. So many people believe the government's treatment of Nnamdi Kanu goes against the rule of law. Every citizen deserves a fair and speedy trial. I personally believe that, and I agree to that. Yet, Kanu has spent years in detention without a verdict. This situation looks less like justice and more like punishment. It has also widened the gap between the Southeast and the federal government of Nigeria, fueling anger and mistrust. So instead of addressing the root cause of the agitation, such as poor governance, inequality, and lack of representation, the government has chosen to silence the most vocal leader of the movement. I am not saying that Nnamdi Kanu should not be held accountable for whatever crime he committed or whatever the government thinks he did. However, the case should be handled carefully and he should be tried immediately and sentenced. And then let's move on to other topics. I also believe that the court has not shown independence by allowing the case to drag endlessly. Justice delayed is justice denied, and Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention remains a stain on Nigeria's democracy and legal system. We also have to talk about the system that brought Nnamdi Kanu. If you remember, that same system brought men like Simon Ekpa, and it's going to continue bringing different kinds of people until that problem is addressed. So the Nigerian government cannot pretend that it doesn't know why men like Nnamdi Kanu are coming up. They need to address the problem, and people like that would go away. It's really that simple. The system that brought Nnamdi Kanu to the limelight is one marked by political imbalance, economic inequality, and deep regional mistrust in Nigeria. So they believe that since the end of the Biafran War, their region has been politically marginalized, economically neglected, and treated with suspicion by the federal government. So this long-standing sense of injustice created fertile ground for voices like Nnamdi Kanu to rise. So Nigeria's democratic system, although meant to protect freedom of speech, often fails to address real social and political problems. Problems like corruption, poor leadership, lack of fairness in resource distribution has made many citizens lose faith in government institutions. So in such an environment, what do you expect? Movements that promise justice, equality, and representation easily gain followers. Kanu used radio broadcasts and social media to speak directly to the people who felt unheard, questioning the government's actions and calling for self-determination. So his rise also shows how weak governance and a lack of national unity can push citizens to seek alternatives. So when a system does not give people equal opportunities or sense of belonging, individuals like Kanu become systems of resistance. So it would be mischievous or ignorant for the Nigerian government to pretend that they don't know what exactly the problem is. If you address the problem, men like Nnamdi Kanu will cease to exist. So here are some questions I've been dying to ask the public. If Nnamdi Kanu's extradition from Kenya did not follow legal procedures, can his trial in Nigeria truly be called fair? I mean, I overheard a group of people talking about this on the Twitter space the other day, and the argument was that in as much as Nnamdi Kanu's extradition was not fair, he still has a case to answer in Nigeria. So what do you make of that? My second question is the Nigerian government trying to deliver justice or silence a political opponent through endless detention? If the Nigerian government is interested in justice for those who died while Nnamdi Kanu was fueling violence, why not just try him quickly, sentence him, and move on to the next issue? Why continue to prolong his detention? And another thought is, if the government continues to delay justice, how can Nigerians trust the legal system to protect ordinary citizens? Would Nigeria be facing this much unrest in the Southeast if the government had chosen dialogue instead of force? And that's all I've been saying. Like, there's a problem that needs addressing. You can arrest as many people as you can. If you don't address that problem, you're just going to keep having more people who speak like Nnamdi Kanu, better or worse than Nnamdi Kanu, keep coming up. And there's always going to be unrest in the southern part of Nigeria, and it's just going to overwhelm the government more.
The joint operation of the Ebonyi State Police Command Tactical Operation Teams, the military, and DSS embarked on an operation this day, 31st May 2022, to dislodge criminals hibernating at the main camp of the Eastern Security Network, ESN, within Onichisu local government area of Ebonyi State.
Let me know your thoughts below in the comment.